Today I'm going to tell you about one of my favorite movies, The Wrath of Khan. In the beginning, everybody gets on the new Enterprise. Spock, Dr. McCoy, Uhura. Then there's this new girl that I never seen before, and she's sitting in the captain's chair. And her name is Mr. Savick. I don't know why they call her Mr. because she's a girl. And she's doing the Kobayashi test, but she fails. And everyone on the ship dies. But that's okay because they didn't really die. It was just a test. Well, I think the new ship's good, but I like the old ship better. I like the old ship better because, well, it's cool because they made it like it looked like in real life. I don't like the new ship because, well, it's not that cool looking and it doesn't look like real life. Later, Dr. McCoy comes to Captain Kirk's room, but Captain Kirk's sad because he's getting old. And Dr. McCoy tells him, "Get back or you'll turn into one of these collections." Well, I don't like him when he gets old because it's pretty sad. He can't do the fist-aya or the jumping kick or the chop with the hand. Not any of those moves because he's old. After that, Chekhov and the character that I don't know yet, they landed on this sandy planet and it was really windy. And then they find a spaceship. And Chekhov, he found a belt that said Botany Bay. And it was like, Botany Bay? Botany Bay? Oh no, we gotta leave! And they almost left, but Khan, he found him before they left. Well, Khan, he was mad at Captain Kirk because all his people died on the planet. So he takes this worm out of this ugly sand monster. He takes it and puts it in his ear, and that's the part I do not like. They put it in his helmet and they close the helmet. Well, Chekhov, he would scream like this, "Ah!" And Khan looks at him and he was like, "Ah, that's better." And now Khan said, "Now tell me why you're here. And where can I find James Kirk?" Because he wants to get revenge. Captain Kirk, he comes on the Enterprise and then he sees Spock sitting in the captain's chair, but now Spock is the captain. But then on the space station, some scientists are working. But then Chekhov tells the scientist that he wants to pick up the machine. And the scientist gets mad. And then one of them is actually Captain Kirk's son, but he doesn't know it yet. Well, I think Captain Kirk's son, well, he doesn't care much about his dad. Well, I don't think I like that character so much because he's trying to stab his dad. But at the end, Captain Kirk's son tells Captain Kirk that he's really proud of him. So he's not so bad after all. So the lady scientist, she got real mad and she called Captain Kirk and she was like, "Why are you trying to take our machine? That makes new planets." And he's like, who's taking the machine? And then Captain Kirk calls Starfleet and then he tells him to go investigate. And then Spock tells him it's okay for him to take over the Enterprise because he's broken and he can't get his feelings hurt. Spock tells him that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And then Captain Kirk says, "We're the one." And then Spock tells Captain Kirk he'll always be his friend. And then Captain Kirk takes over the Enterprise. Then they go to the space station. But then another ship shows up, and that's the one that Khan stole. But they don't know it. But then they don't raise the shields. And then Khan says, "Fire!" And then they shoot torpedoes at the Enterprise. It leaps holes in the Enterprise. Then Khan comes up on the TV, and Captain Kirk's like, "Khan." He wanted Captain Kirk to know who was getting revenge on him. And then Khan says, "Wants Genesis." Captain Kirk says, "Genesis? What's that?" And then that makes Khan mad. And then Khan said, "Don't insult my intelligence." And then Captain Kirk tricks Khan and makes him drop his shields. And then Khan's friend tells Khan that we don't have any shields. And then Khan says, "Raise them!" But he's like, "I can't." So Sulu's able to shoot back. I like that about Captain Kirk when he starts being really tricky, because he's really, really good at that. And then Khan's like, no, because he doesn't want to go away. But he has to, because the Enterprise will blow him up. And then the Enterprise gets power, and then they can go to the space station. Well, I'm just going to skip this part because, well, it's pretty scary to me. But then Captain Kirk finds out that some of the scientists went to the planet. So they beamed down with Chekhov and that other captain. But that other captain and Chekhov, they're still being controlled by Khan. Khan told Chekhov's captain to kill Captain Kirk. Chekhov's captain, he was like, I can't, and then he shoots himself. And then the worm comes out Chekhov's ear. It was pretty gross. Captain Kirk took his phaser and shoot the little worm. It made me feel better. I didn't want to see that ghost thing anymore. But then Khan beams Xanatos to his ship. Captain Kirk tells him that he's gonna have to come down there to get him. But then Khan's like, no, I did worse. I hurt you. And then Khan says, I'm gonna leave you down there, buried alive. And that's when Captain Kirk loses it, and he takes his communicator and he goes like, Khan! And it's so loud that you can hear it outside the planet. Well, I think about that part. Captain Kirk loses tempo a little bit. But then when Captain Kirk calms down, that scientist shows him the cave. And it looks like a paradise. And then Mr. Savick asked Captain Kirk, how did you beat that test? And Dr. McCoy says, you're looking at the only person who ever beat the Kumirashi test. And she's like, how did you do it? And Captain Kirk's like, I changed the situations of the test. And his son said, you cheated. So then they bring him back to the ship. But then he takes Khan again because Khan thinks his ship is broken, but it's really not. And then Mr. Savick told Spock, you lied. And Spock's like, no, I exaggerated. So Khan finally finds him. And then the Enterprise goes into the space cloud to hide. And then Captain Kirk outsmarts Khan, and he shoots up his ship. One piece of the ship fell on his friend. Khan, he finally gets up, and his face is all melted. One side is melted. The other side is like, it's just normal. But he was really ugly looking. He sets off the device to blow up, but everybody doesn't think that they can get away because their ship is broken. But Spock, he saves the day by going in this really hot device, but then Dr. McCoy tries to stop him, and he tells him, are you out of your broken mind? And Spock does the neck pinch, and he falls asleep, and he puts his hand on his face, and he says, remember. And then he goes in there, and Scotty's trying to tell him, get out, get out! He has to do what he has to do in order to save the ship. And then he turns on the ship, and boom! They go really fast. And then Captain Kirk's happy because he thinks Scotty fixed the ship, but then Scotty's like, you better get down here. And he turns to look at Spock's chair, and he's not there. So he runs down to the engineering. He tried to get in the room, but they won't let him because it would kill everybody on that ship. Spock, he gets up real slow, but he walks over there, but he's blind, so he can't see. And Spock says these words: "The needs of many outweighs the needs of the few, or one." So he finally puts his hand on the window to try to touch Captain Kirk, and he went like, "Live long and prosper." And that's when he dies. When I first saw that part, I cried so badly because I felt so bad for Spock because he died, and he's like my favorite character in the episode. And then they had to put him in a tube to send him away, and everybody feels so sad for Spock. And Captain Kirk says, "And out of all the souls I counter," and his was the most human. You can tell that he wants to cry because, you know why? It's because he's really sad because his favorite officer died. And that was his best friend. And then Scotty played this little sad song. But at the end, they shot him into space and he landed on a planet. But it was a really better planet because this planet, it could bring people to life. And that's what happens in the next movie. So it's not that sad. I'm Sarai. Thanks for watching my review. I hope you liked it.